And this morning we're going to do the Mindfulness of Breathing Meditation. But last night, when I was talking to Jan, she said, well, what's the difference between Triratna and other Buddhist groups? So I just thought I'd actually go into that, because I haven't said anything about that for a long time. Good morning, Sarah. So Triratna was started in 1968 by our teacher, Urgyen Sangharakshita, and he'd been a Buddhist monk in India for 20 years. When he was 20, he left the army at the end of the war. He gave away all his possessions and burnt his passport and things like that. Dyed some material orange, and with a friend began to wander around India, and eventually became ordained as a monk. And he met a teacher, and he learned, he got enough to get ordained fully as a full monk. And then his teacher told him to stay in Kalimpong for the good of Buddhism. Kalimpong's in the foothills on the border with Tibet. So he stayed there, and because the Chinese were invading Tibet at the time, lots of Tibetan lamas were coming over the border. So he ended up with about another 3 or 4 teachers of the Tibetan tradition. So he'd learnt the early Indian tradition, the Theravadan tradition, and then he learnt about the Buddhist practice. And then he met somebody in Kalimpong who was a Chinese hermit who was a Zen practitioner. So he learnt all about Zen. And he was a very clever man, Sangharakshita. He's dead now, but he could retain stuff in his memory. He had a fantastic memory. So he read widely. He read loads and loads of different Buddhist texts and teachings. And what he did was to take the whole of Buddhism and put it together in one practice, one wide, very broad practice of Buddhism. Now, most traditions, when you join them, they have a specific path of practice that you have to follow if you want to practice with them. So you might, if you're in the Zen tradition, you do a lot of meditation and you practice in a very specific way. And the same with Tibetan, the same with the Theravadan practice. And that's great, and people love that. But if you're a Westerner like us, it's a bit harder to do that. It's not as accessible, and also the practices are very much based on Eastern tradition. So what Sangharakshita did was to make our practice much more, well, in a way, Western, though we have a lot of members in India. He made it more accessible to us, and he made it so that we can start off with basic practices like this meditation, and we can add to them as we go along, and we can add the practices that really appeal to us, and just not ignore the other ones, but just don't do them until they feel right. So what happens is that, for instance, with me, I end up doing virtually all of it, not quite all of it, because I just like it all now, but I didn't at first. So it's a really pleasant way into Buddhist practice, and also it's very practical. It really is a way of helping us in the West to deal with some of the things in our psyche and lives that are different to in the East. So he's adapted it very, very cleverly to fit our lifestyles. So I love it, and it fits me perfectly. Some Western people love Tibetan Buddhism and Zen and all those kind of things as well. So it's up to individuals to choose. But you're welcome to come along on our Wednesday night and find out what we do. You'll find the link on our newsletter or on our website. You know, you can just come along and see what you think. And my name is Shakyapada, and that's an old Indian language called Pali, and it means she who accompanies the Buddha, and it means that because Shakya was the family name of the Buddha. So Shakyapada is she who follows the Buddha, or she who walks with the Buddha, which I like very much. Okay, welcome Barbara and Noel and Michelle and Sarah. Good to have you all here this morning. So I hope that was helpful to you, just to give you some background to who we are. And we're worldwide. We've got 50 centres all around the world and 2,300 order members, people like me. And men and women are equal, which is very unusual in the Buddhist tradition. So that's good as well. Okay, so shall we do some meditation? Let's get on. Okay, so I'm going to do the mindfulness of breathing. And as usual, we'll just start off by sitting here or lying here, tuning into how we are. Just noticing how we are in the body. What's the body feel like today, this morning, right now? And possibly okay, possibly a bit achy, a bit stiff. Maybe some disturbing feelings going on particularly in the front of the body for some of us. And if that's the case, whatever the case actually, whatever we're experiencing in the body is fine. We're not trying to change that. That's where we're starting from. And it's really unhelpful to get into conflict with the way we are. The way we are is the way we are. And if we can just accept that gracefully and with kindness, then we cause ourselves a lot less pain and suffering. The same with our emotional state and our mental state. Just being with those two as they are. So accepting the whole of our being as it is, with kindness, with acceptance, with friendship to ourselves. And just taking in our physical circumstances, the sounds around us, anything we can smell or taste. Even what we're looking at, even if our eyes are closed, we can still notice that we are looking. We're looking at our eyelids. Just softening the eyes, softening the whole of the face, including the forehead. Just letting any wrinkles drop out, any frowns, allowing our faces to sag. And giving up our weight of our body to whatever we're lying or sitting on. Just letting that hold us. In a way, letting the earth hold us. Just surrendering our weight. Relaxing our minds as much as we can. Relaxing our bodies. Noticing the shoulders rising and falling with each breath. As they drop on the out breath, just letting any remaining tension drop away through the body. And relaxing again on the next out breath. And a bit more on the next. And tuning in to the rhythm of the breath in the chest area. And really being alive to the sensations of the breath coming and going. This is the mindfulness of breathing. And in the first stage, we're following the whole length of the out-breath from beginning right to the very end. Then breathing in. We're not worried about the in-breath at the moment. Just following each out-breath from the beginning to the end. And if we wish, we can count at the end of each out-breath, beginning with 1 and then going up to 10. But mostly, it's important to follow the whole length of the breath as we breathe out. And remember, when you get distracted, that's nothing to worry about. Just noticing that precious moment when you know you've been distracted. A little bit of awareness, a clear awareness that you know that you've not been there. Just valuing that. And in the second stage, we're going to count. If we're counting, we're going to count just before the in-breath. But the most important thing is to follow the whole of the in-breath from the beginning right to the end. Just following in it all the way along. Not trying too hard, just concentrating enough to follow each in-breath from beginning to end, and knowing that you've been distracted and starting again, following each in-breath. Just relaxing as much as you can. And in the third stage, we're going to stop any counting that we've done, and we're going to just notice the breath in the body, beginning probably, if you wish, with the upper body, where the breath, the movement of the breath is so clear. Just noticing the movement of the body, the sensations of the breath coming in and out of the body, into the lungs, pushing the ribs outwards. Allowing yourself to get lost in the rhythm of the breath, totally absorbed. So if you like, you can stay with the sensations and movements in the upper body, in the chest. Or if you like, you can notice the movement of the breath in other parts of the body, in the abdomen and the belly. Each of those moving in time with the breath. You might even be able to feel the breath moving in the legs and the arms and the head. And in the final stage, we're going to move our attention up to the area around the nostrils or the upper lip, wherever the breath comes into the body. And just noticing these delicate sensations as the breath brushes these areas, as it comes into the body and as it leaves. Just noticing all you can, being really focused, but not trying too hard. If it helps, you can notice the quality of the breath, the texture, the temperature. Just being really curious. And as we move towards the end of the meditation, just letting go of all effort now. Just sitting with whatever is arising in your experience, whatever's happening, not trying to push anything away, not trying to grab hold of anything, just sitting, noticing, observing the whole of your experience. Well, there we are. That's the end of another meditation. We've been doing this for 10 weeks. Can you believe that? 10 weeks. 2.5 months, which is great. And we're going to carry on doing it. So that's good. Or at least I'm going to be here. I hope you will be as well. So thank you very much for coming this morning. And it's good to see you all. Have a good day. If you want to meet me at 11 for a morning cuppa relaxing break, then that would be great. Otherwise, I'll see you again sometime. I'll be here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock and at 11 o'clock. And tomorrow we'll be doing loving kindness meditation, metta bhavana. So just have a good day. Hope it all goes well for you, and see you again soon. And lots of love to you.